Hello, folks. My name is Edmund Davidson, and I've been a part of the CLA since its very beginning, riding with Gordon in an automobile way back in the 90s, listening to this while I drive and he's on the telephone. Okay, and I'm thinking, what is he talking about? What's this all about? Well, it came to be that I was at Gordon's house the night the artist showed up to draw the bag and the horn for the emblem. Okay, so I've watched this thing grow from talking about it to seeing an emblem to being at the first show at the airport Radisson in Kentucky. And that was an experience because I had no idea what I was wading into or what any of us were wading into. And watch this thing grow from that to the Drawbridge Estate. And in that time, I suggested that maybe we should have a silent auction. And Gordon says, yes, do it. And I did. So clipboards down, papers, and the first time we generated good money. I can't remember the exact figures, but it was really good. And then from that, another show at the Drawbridge, 2 shows there. And then on to Lexington, Kentucky, to the Lexington Center. And again, the silent auction continued. And it generated quite a lot of income, needed income to run the CLA. And from there, then the live auction, I assisted with the live auction. And from the very beginning, I've been the photographer. I've taken pictures for the show that landed in any number of CLA publications, the Flintlock, all the way up to what is current. So it's been quite a joy, quite a ride, to watch all the amazing artists, interact with each other, horn makers, bag makers, gun makers, jewelry makers, all the good stuff that makes the CLA what it is. So artistry, artistry, artistry. So at any rate, I myself am an artist. Being surrounded by artists, I am one. So what I do and create is a little bit different than most, but it was back in 1995, 96 that I made this long rifle. Now, it's a shorty because we used to shoot at Fort Frederick. And at that event, very windy, so I built it to be quite heavy. So I took architecture from any number of schools, not really knowing exactly what I was doing, but did it anyway. And did the carving, wood that I got from Freddie Harrison while he was still living down in Tennessee. Kind of cool. Heavy gun, 11.5 pounds, 60 caliber, so it's a good windbucker. So having had several guns from master gunmaker Judd Brennan, okay, I kind of knew what to look for. So I'd call and ask questions, this thing, that thing, and it came together very well. Won a lot of matches with this gun, a lot of matches. So being a shooter, won the Virginia State Muzzleloading Silhouette Championship 5 years in a row, and I know tons of people have heard that, but that's quite an accomplishment because I worked really hard to get there. But what I do for a living is a knife maker. I'm a knife maker, so I'm an artist and a craftsman. So the two come together to make these really cool pieces. And this is a piece that I created for our director, Gordon Barlow, back in 1995. This was my first ever art knife, ever. 2.5 ounces of 24 karat gold. Incredible construction all over by Jerry the engraver, because I'm not an engraver, so I do have other people do that kind of work, but I made this out of a block of steel, a solid block of steel. It's all integral, so that's my specialty. Also created this for the CLA. This piece right here was 10 years of excellence, 1996, 2006. And that was, I made the knife from various bits and pieces, parts. Okay, the blade is A2 steel. Engraving by Judd Brennan and Mark Thomas, our local artisan, did the scrimshaw on the handle. So it was kind of like a collaboration between 3 artists in the CLA for this amazing piece. And I do believe this was sold at auction. I don't remember the funding, but Gordon was generous enough to buy it. And that's how that came to be. Another integral here, this kind of commemorates a bit of what I do, the house and everything, a little scene from the book and various other things like that. Again, one piece integral. And that was taken in Louisville, Kentucky, that picture. I'm the president of the General Daniel Morgan Chapter Sons of the American Revolution, had 10 ancestors fighting the American Revolution. It all comes together. This is like full circle. Goes back from ancestry to current, and now we're reproducing through the CLA in an artistic way the very things that our ancestors used over 200 years ago, which is actually pretty amazing considering what they went through, what individuals lived through, what they did, to now what we're reproducing, okay, in the Contemporary Long Rifle Association CLA. And then into something a bit more modern. And this we'll have, this is a harpoon tip, neo-tactical type thing, you know, so go from that to this. So in the knife world, we're not restrained really within certain things. And I've done primitive knives. I've now made a total of 3,355 pieces in 32 years. So I've been 32 years full-time knife maker, and that's my only means of support financially is through that. So, and I have 362 patterns. So that's extensive. I'm global. I'm a global connection. They go around the planet. So it's very interesting that I'm a part of the CLA coming from a global artistry. It's very interesting, you know, and the people I meet, the cultures, the societies of folks that come out of, so we all come together in the knife world to be one like, oh my golly, look at that. There's a gal, Veronique Laurent. She's from Brussels, Belgium. She makes the most amazing art daggers you ever saw. And so to be in that era with these people, male and female, is like quite a mind blower, you know. So we have like in our CLA, we have Lally House, who's like I guess the quintessential quiller. You know, you measure other quill work by Lally's work, that kind of thing. You know, just you have that benchmark person, that benchmark artist. You know who they are. You see these people, and you look at that and go, God, I want to be like that. I want to get that good. You know, I want to get to that level. And that's another thing about the CLA is the level of artistry people go to, they ascend to, they go up to. You know, they see this work and go, oh, and then they get ideas. So at the show, you may have your own work there, okay? So your own work, say, that's good. Then you go around the show and you look at somebody else's work and go, oh. And they may ask that artist, how'd you do that? And they will usually tell you, they're not bashful about, okay, I use this scraper or that tool or I made this, that, and the other to make it work. Because that's really what we're all about, sharing our talents with others. And that's another aspect of the CLA is a sharing of abilities, sharing of skills, sharing of things that other people would never know. You know, just, I think back, I'll repeat again, the first show we had at Airport Radisson in Florence, Kentucky. You know, a room full of people who had never been together, never. And there they are. Holy mackerel, look at this, you know. And then the next year, look at all that, you know. And then the next year, and then all of a sudden people that never really knew each other by face are now friends. People that, okay, I've heard of this one, I've heard of that one, this, that, and the other, never met. Now they meet every year. That is something you can't buy that. You can't, it's priceless. And so the CLA has brought that whole, an amalgamation of people together. You know, they come together in one common cause, artistry representing the past where our ancestors came from. They came from mostly Scotland and Ireland and places of that nature in Europe to the new land to form the country we have today. We're reproducing what they lived with, lived by, tools of the trade to survive with, you know, like the tomahawk, the knife, the long rifle. I'm lucky to have grown up in the timber trade, so hard work was just a norm. And then having driven truck for 7.5 years cross country, over the road, hard work, that was the norm. So when this kind of came along, then okay, that just fit. I didn't know any better. And it's okay. It all worked well. So yes, integral, complete one unit. I've done stuff into solid, 100% solid, where there's no handle material except the steel. And that was done largely for the scope of engraving. You can put a lot of artwork on a lot of metal. And that is kind of interesting in itself. You know, there again, hardly anybody's doing that. So it's just kind of I have a little niche thing going, if you will. And that's really nice to be kind of like set apart. And I guess my own strange personality allows that to happen very well, which is not a bad thing. So we're all kind of like, we all have a fingerprint. It's like a long rifle maker. You can often look at a bag maker, a horn maker, a quiller, and you see that style, and you go, "That's so and so." It's their fingerprint. We all have that little fingerprint thing going on, you know. Knife making's the same way. There are some people who clone others. I'm not of that nature. There's no cloning here. You see that piece, if you know knives, yeah, Edmund did that, you know. And that's really kind of cool, and it's our own style. It's kind of like a musician. Or something that somebody does, you know, as an artist. You can look at a painting and say, "Oh yeah, so and so did that." You know, and that's really nice to be able to be a part of an artistic community. And of the 7.2 billion people on the planet Earth right now, how many people will be remembered? Well, we artists are fortunate enough to allow a memory to continue, and other people to enjoy that creation that person with their hands and eyes and talents and whatever's about their body allow them to make. That's good. That's just really, really, really good. So, you know, being in the CLA, that's great stuff. I mean, that's just really, and I don't know how many members we have now. It's quite a number. But the artists in the CLA that the membership gets to enjoy, I hope that grows and grows and grows and keeps on going. Okay, the Contemporary Long Rifle Association parallels the Knife Makers Guild, okay, to which I'm a director. We have 4 directors. And we are a worldwide organization, the Knife Makers Guild, okay? So in that vein, the Contemporary Long Rifle Association has many more members, much bigger now than the Knife Makers Guild. The Knife Makers Guild is actually dwindling due to a loss of makers, mostly claimed by death, time. They passed on. So we've lost a lot, but that's a real parallel right there. The Knife Makers Guild with the Contemporary Long Rifle Association, the CLA, kind of runs along that same gilding type. It's like a guild in a way without being a guild. You know, you don't, in the Knife Makers Guild, along with the American Bladesmith Society, we have criteria. So you meet certain criteria as a guild, whereas the Contemporary Long Rifle Association is not so tight in that respect, okay? So if somebody is of mediocre ability, welcome. If somebody is the greatest in the world, welcome. So we don't have that restraint, that I'm not going to say a fix, that isn't correct. It's more like a restraint. We don't have that. We don't have that in the Contemporary Long Rifle Association. In the CLA, if you're an artist of anything, if you're making moccasins, if you're making, you know, pants, if you're doing war shirts, if you're doing caps, it doesn't matter. If you're making amazing bags or bags not so amazing, it doesn't, you know, welcome, welcome. If you're doing long rifles, welcome. Muskets, it doesn't matter. Come to us, you know, come to the CLA. You're welcome. And in all the shows that I've been at, I've only missed one show out of the entire group of shows we've had. And I've taken thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures. So I photograph every display at the shows, okay, and then overall stuff and such as like that. And I can't recall anybody running down somebody else's artistry. And that's a lot. I mean, I've never heard anybody say, "Ooh, yuck, yuck," never. Even though someone's artistry isn't quite on the par of somebody, nobody condemns. There's no condemnation. You know, I've never heard anybody say, "Ooh, yuck," never. So that speaks a lot for the quality of individuals at the show itself, you know, and everybody gets along. I've never seen a fight. I've never seen a squabble, a throwdown. We've had some interesting things at the silent auction table just for excitement purposes, and everybody was happy, shook hands, and went away. You know, it's all great. So it's a very unique organization, worth belonging to. If you think about joining the CLA, please do. If you think you know somebody who might like to join the CLA, turn them on to the CLA. They're easy to find.